Hey friends, it's Amy from Buttercake. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make these triple chocolate brownies. Delicious brownie base with a very fudgy, decadent ganache frosting. We're going to get started making the brownies themselves. So into my bowl is going to go my butter and chocolate chips. That's a half semi-sweet, half milk chocolate blend. And I melted it in the microwave in 30-second increments, taking it out, stirring it so that I don't burn the chocolate, and then just keep going until all of the chocolate is melted, as you see here, mixing well so that it's fully combined. And then into that is going to go the granulated sugar. You want to give that a good whisk till the sugar is incorporated and a little bit melted. And then vigorously whisk in the eggs. They tend to want to stay separate from the mixture at this point, so do put a little oomph in your whisking here. Then in goes the vanilla extract, and finally the salt and leavener. The brownies don't rise a whole lot, just a little bit in the oven. Mix that well again till you have this luxurious chocolatey goodness. In goes the cocoa powder and some all-purpose flour. Mixing this with my spatula just so I don't overmix the batter at this point. Doing some nice folding motions here until it's mostly incorporated. You'll still see a little bit of the dry ingredients, and that's okay. That's when I add in the white chocolate chips. So there is our third kind of chocolate. Mix that gently, just until it comes together and the white chocolate chips are incorporated and you don't see any more streaks of the dry batter. It's a good time to preheat your oven. These baked at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I prepared a small casserole dish. You can use an 8x8 square pan as well. And I just put some parchment paper that I snipped at the corners to fit nicely into my casserole dish here. And I'm going to carefully get the brownie batter, and it thickens as it sits because that butter was melted. So as it cools down a little bit, it will get thick like this. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Taking an offset spatula to just smooth it out as best I can. You just want to push it out to the corners. It'll settle down a little bit as it bakes, so you don't have to get this part absolutely perfect. And there we go. And that goes into my preheated oven. You can see when it comes out, it's a little bit puffy, and there's a slight jiggle in the center. You don't want it to look like liquidy, but just a little bit jiggly like a cheesecake. While it's cooling, you can get started on the ganache topping. So this is heavy cream. It's going into a saucepan on low heat. And then I'm preparing my chocolate, some semi-sweet chocolate. And then I also have an 80% dark chocolate bar here. So it's going to be a little more of a bitter topping. You can see the heavy cream here is at a simmer. It gets a little rolly on the top. And that's when you want to take it off and add it to your chocolate. I'm just going to wiggle the bowl a little bit to make sure all of the chocolate is covered and then let it sit for a few minutes. That way all of the chocolate can melt and it can kind of do a lot of the work on its own. So after a few minutes I came back and I whisked it. You want to gently whisk it. We don't want to incorporate any air into it. We just want to combine the ingredients and make sure the chocolate is fully melted. You can see it gets very luxurious looking. Such a good, delicious thing to eat with a spoon. That looks perfect. Now my brownies are still warm. They don't have to cool completely because our ganache is also warm. I'm just taking the time to push down the edges a little bit. The brownies do tend to sink in the center slightly. So instead of all the ganache pulling towards the center, it creates a little bit more of a flattened surface so that it can be more evenly dispersed across the top of the brownies. Just gently It doesn't harm the brownies at all. Then on goes the ganache. Oh, look at that. It's starting to thicken up a little bit already, but that's okay. It's still liquid enough to spread it over the top and get it nice and even. You could also put a little design in the top of it if you want. Totally up to you. But I ended up adding some white chocolate shavings on top, so not too worried. Once you have that smoothed out, you do want to let it sit for a while, a couple hours to fully set up and cool before you add your white chocolate shavings and cut the brownies. Here I'm just removing it from the pan. It should come right out for you. You can transfer it to a cutting board. I put a white chocolate bar in my freezer for a couple hours, and I'm just using a vegetable peeler to create some shavings. And it gives a nice, pretty topping, but you're also getting that pretty contrast and the extra sweet kick from the white chocolate. These are ready to cut. I cut these into about 9 rectangles, and they were so rich that those might have been a little bit too big. I mean, of course, we ate them anyways, but we actually ate them half at a time. It's a lot of chocolate, but it is so good. We really love these in my house, and yeah, they only lasted a couple days. You can just store these at room temperature. If you want to chill the whole slab for a couple hours so it's easier to cut, that also works. Wow, look at that. Gorgeous. These are amazing. I hope you guys give them a try. And if you do, let me know what you think down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do consider it. It helps show videos to more people. More people can watch these tutorials, learn baking tips, and I also decorate some cakes and cookies over here on this channel. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.